Finally speaking to Severus, 2 days later, that evening. After much consideration and thinking, I finally gathered enough courage to speak to Severus again. For a good minute or so, I was pacing back and forth in front of his door. Should I even do this? What if he doesn't want to see me and shuts the door in my face? What if those same feelings suddenly flow back like a river stream? And more importantly, does he even know how I still feel? I took a deep breath as I shook my arms and hands, nervousness taking over me like I was getting ready to go on a first date or something again. I knocked as the door slowly opened on its own, so I walked in. I saw that Severus was looking at the window as he turned around to see me. I walked up as silence filled the air, and butterflies filled my belly immediately. Didn't I just say that those same feelings would come back? Hi, Profess. Call me by my first name, Paige. It's fine. Okay, well, hello, Severus. Not to seem rude, Paige, but what are you doing here exactly? I hope I'm not disturbing you, and I realize this is probably a little awkward. I paused. Go on, he insisted. I wanted to talk, to try, or at least have a start mending things up since, that night. It's been a long time since then, and I know neither of us haven't really spoken since either. I don't think I'll be able to heal until then. He turned and walked closer, but he seemed like he couldn't say anything at all. So I spoke up. I can't believe you became one of them again. I mean, you killed my father, Severus, my flesh and blood and the closest part of me since I had left since my mother. Do you even know how that made me feel? Like I stated that evening, Paige, you think you know everything, but you don't know it at all. And again, I say, what exactly does that mean? Just how it sounds. Everything is not how it seems to appear. Plus, you wouldn't understand. Then make me understand, Severus, and be honest with me then. I know for a fact that you're not ready to hear the truth yet, Paige. Someday, yes, obviously, I'll tell you. But it's not going to be right now. How do you know I'm not ready for the truth, Severus? He looked at me. Do you forget, Paige, how long I've been around you and come to know you? I can feel and sense you aren't ready for the truth. Once I feel like you are ready, and when it's time, then you'll know everything. But Severus, this is my father we're talking about here. I started to tear up, but I tried to hold my ground. I didn't want him to see me like this. Paige, he told you it had to happen anyway. It was his fate. I didn't realize that I began to shout. His fate? No one deserves to die like that, Severus. I don't even know the full truth. He didn't tell me every single detail. Don't you realize how close I was to him? Unable to contain my tears anymore, I started to cry as he pulled me into his arms. I didn't want him to see me in such a weak and vulnerable state, since I have been since Dad's death, but it happened anyway. I know it's been some time since Dad died, but with how close I was to him, this year so far has been unbelievably hard for me to deal with alone. I resisted Severus' touch at first, but he held me tightly like he wanted to hold me. He whispered in my ear as I shivered a bit from feeling his breath. Go ahead and cry your heart out, Paige. I know you want to. It's okay. With that, I cried in front of Severus for the first time in forever. After a minute, I exclaimed, still crying, I'm so sorry, Severus. I miss him so much. It's hard being here now without him for the first time since my first year. I went from seeing him practically every day to never again for as long as I live. I know you miss him, Paige. I'm so sorry. That's why I left his office the way it was, for you to go there whenever you pleased. I glanced at him since I was unsure of what to respond with. After a couple minutes of silence, besides that, how are you really, Paige? He said. He must care for my well-being for a change. Well, my father's dead. My friends are on the run to save everyone, And my ex-boyfriend is the master of Hogwarts. I'm far from fine, but I manage. I don't talk to anyone much really either. So, I slowly backed away from his grip as I wiped my eyes and cheeks and sniffled. He glanced and asked, "Will you ever take me back, Paige?" I looked at him with pure, honest surprise and bugged-out eyes. Where in the bloody hell did that come from? I don't think I will even question him about it either. Does this mean he's still in love with me and never stopped? For a moment, the look in his eyes seemed innocent, making me hypnotized and almost forgetting to breathe. Severus, I don't know. Honestly, I'm sorry. I do know that I can't forgive you easily, especially with everything bad that happened and what you did wrong. There is no excuse as to how I reacted towards you, but I always meant what I said to you. You should have been honest with me then about things, Severus, instead of hiding it all away. Because if I knew then what I know now, we still would have broken up eventually. Face it, Severus, we were drifting apart. I didn't want to make it appear that way to you, Paige. I can only imagine what would have happened if the Dark Lord knew how I felt about you. I've always cared about you. You should know. But just because we fell apart, Severus, it's wrong to take your anger out and make others suffer. This place looks horrible. The lights are barely on. The tables are gone. You don't feed us, really. You let Slytherin students do whatever, and you treat us like military house slaves or some shit. I looked as his face got a little red. Oh shit. He's getting angry. Don't tell me how to run my school, stupid girl, he spat. Oh, so now it's stupid girl. What happened to asking if I was going to take you back a minute ago? It's your fault this happened. Look at me for not eating as much, Severus. I unbuttoned my robe and lifted my shirt so he could see the difference for himself. I mean, I wasn't that bad, but you could tell that I was getting a little thinner than usual. I didn't care if my breasts were visible, but for a split second, I noticed that he gulped nervously. Maybe that made him nervous. Minerva is the closest person I have to family here, like a mother. Hermione and Ginny are like my sisters, and Harry and Ron are like my brothers. The only true family I have left is my Uncle Severus, and I rarely see him. Ginny's the only one here. Harry, Ron, Ginny, and Hermione are my closest friends, and if I lose them, I'll go insane. Harry can get killed, and I can't do anything to save him. I watched his face turn from angry to surprised, ashamed, and upset. Finally, he stated, I can't do anything about what the Dark Lord wants, Paige. I'm a Death Eater now, and I have to remain loyal to him for a reason you may not understand quite yet. I do what he asks me and obey because of not having a choice in the matter. Yeah, like killing my father with me and Harry watching down below. Paige, as much as you may not like to hear it, he was going to die anyway. How do you know that? I shouted. If you're so concerned about everything, search his things in his office, as it's all there. It's better if you read it than for me to completely say it. I mean, maybe I'll just do that soon if that's really what you think I should do. What would you like me to eventually do with his things, Paige? I could make sure they get moved somewhere safe, at least. I guess place them at our private home, Severus. Thank you for being able to take care of that. I didn't even think about that, honestly. You're welcome, Paige. There was a pause until I asked, So, you can't do anything at all to save Harry, Severus? Potter is in the Dark Lord's hands now, Paige. If I try to disobey him, it's a possibility that he will kill me on the spot. Besides, you know some of the truth behind it anyway. Severus, he's my closest friend, though. Can't you do anything at all? I can't lose him, Severus. If I try anything too noticeable, Paige, I'll get killed by the Dark Lord. You and I both know how powerful he is. Yeah, he's pretty much unstoppable, which is why Harry is risking his life, too. I want to help you, Paige. Believe me. But I cannot. I'm deeply sorry. Do you have to search for him, though? I mean, he can't even come back here. As I said, Paige, there's a reason behind that I can't say yet. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want to tell you. I can't reveal my reasoning yet is all. But one day, I'll tell you everything. I sighed, putting my head down and looking at the ground. You promise, Severus? I swear to you, Paige. I promise I will. All I can reveal to you at the moment is that it has to deal with the Dark Lord and Potter. I cannot tell you more than that right now. Trust me, I'll know when the time is right. I nodded my head as I didn't even know what to respond to Severus. I know he's right, and he has his reasonings for everything. At the end of it all, I truly didn't want anything bad to happen to Harry. I love Harry. He's my best friend, and I care about his safety. I need to know that he'll somehow make it through all this. Noticing my reaction, he lifted my head when he said, Unless. Unless what, Severus? Unless I try to do something small somehow to help Potter without getting caught by the Dark Lord, that is. Can you really do that, Severus? I can certainly try. He won't know it'll be from me, but I signed to help him. I smiled small in the response. Maybe there's a part of him that truly cares still, after all. He has a funny way of showing it out, though. He continued, I can't control what the Dark Lord wants, Paige. You're lucky he's not after you. Why would he be? He would be pretty stupid to try and come after me to kill me. My father is dead, and I have one bloody family member left. Besides, Voldemort was always afraid of Dad. I know that for a fact. Father told me about Voldemort's past once. I know. I remember him telling me, Paige. I hope you realize that your father loved you more than life itself. After all, you're the only child he ever had. He cherished you like glass. He was always worried about you when something happened. Let's just say that Albus told me what you meant to him, Paige. You were his baby girl since the day you were born, and he held you in his arms. I became speechless as tears welled up in my eyes. Funny thing is, Minerva was telling me something of that same matter a couple days ago, about how much I meant to my father, too, Severus. That's because it's the truth after all, Paige. Thank you for at least letting me talk to you like this. It was nice for a change instead of us arguing over something stupid. I have to admit it was nice, yes. I can't promise a lot right now. I hope you understand, Paige. Yes, I understand, Severus. I know it's going to be a while for us to patch up everything. He didn't say anything, but there was a small glimpse of something hidden in his eyes. My heart pounded as I realized how close we'd been standing there talking. He could lean and kiss me if he really wanted to. I almost caved in to do it, as, for a minute, I forgot about everything that happened to us in the past. Even glancing into his eyes was getting me into a trance. Like I said, Paige, he stated, I can't promise much of anything right now. It's going to take some time after everything. There was yet another pause as I didn't respond. He didn't kiss me. Instead, he resisted and softly said, I think it would be best if you left now, Paige. I nodded my head as I turned around to walk out the door. I'm glad our conversation was at least civil and calm and didn't turn into an argument or anything of the sort. I held my hand on the door as I whispered, Well, good night, Severus. Good night, Paige. I closed the door behind me as I went back to my dorm area for the rest of the evening. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for the next part.